Hello, Attorney Carl here, making another quick video. Been a bankruptcy attorney and divorce attorney in Illinois and Iowa for over 20 years. Making these videos mainly for my clients, but if it helps somebody pro se or whatever, that's great. Today's video is going to be about the top 7 bankruptcy mistakes you can make. Number 1, and the most important, is do not withhold any information from your attorney. Whatever you tell me, whatever you tell your attorney is totally confidential. You get to keep that between yourselves. Now, when you come in for a bankruptcy, sometimes you want to keep something you're not sure if you can. It's not a good idea not to tell your attorney because they'll find it. The trustees, they do lien searches. They search property records. They search the DMV records. So if you have any kind of vehicle that's titled or anything like that, they're going to know about it. They'll also look at your bank statements. So you need to be 100% honest with your attorney. Don't hide any property whatsoever. Tell your attorney. Then your attorney will tell you whether you can keep it or you can't keep it. And if it's a deal breaker that you can't keep it and file bankruptcy, then that's your decision. And it's a free consultation. So you want to do that, because once you file bankruptcy, you can't, and they tell you can't keep a piece of property, you can't go, oh, well, I changed my mind, I don't want the bankruptcy. It doesn't work that way. That asset's gone. It's similar to dropping an egg on the floor. Once you drop an egg on the floor, you can't put it back together. So once you file bankruptcy, you can't bring it back, you can't quit. That's that. So be honest with your attorney, and then your attorney can advise you. That's why attorneys are called counselors. Number 2, do not use your credit cards within 90 days of filing bankruptcy. Really, once you know you're filing bankruptcy, you shouldn't use your credit cards anymore anyway. But any money over $1,000 you put on credit cards within 90 days prior to filing bankruptcy, you're probably going to have to pay that back. Not a good idea. When you file bankruptcy, you get a fresh start, which means it gets rid of all your bills. You go forward with nothing behind you. Total fresh start. So don't mess that up by doing that. And so don't use your credit cards within 90 days of filing bankruptcy. Also, if it's January to April, you want to make sure that you've discussed what kind of tax return you're going to get with your attorney, because trustees are looking to take any overage you have in a tax return. I did another video on tax returns where I went into it in depth, so I'm not going to do that here. You can watch that video. But basically, any money over $500, the trustee's going to take that. Now, earned income tax credit and additional child tax credit, you get to keep all of that. So don't worry about that. So it's only the amount of refund you have after earned income tax credit and additional child tax credit. You want to make sure that you don't transfer property to somebody else's name and then file bankruptcy. Like I said, they're going to find that. They'll search property records, and they're going to search the DMV records. So if you think you're going to be cute by transferring a car out of your name and then putting it back in your name, or you have real estate and you're going to give that to your relatives and then get it back, it doesn't work that way. Any transfer to relatives or friends, there's a 4-year look back. So you would have had to done it 4 years ago. At least 1 year ago for acquaintances or other type people. So don't transfer property. Tell your attorney, and then you'll just have to decide whether that's worth it or not to file bankruptcy. But anything like that, they're going to find, and the trustee will be able to undo it legally, and then they'll take that from you anyway. So it doesn't make sense to do anything like that. And then go back to rule number 1. Be honest with your attorney. Tell him everything. Tell her everything, because it's just going to bite you if you don't. And then you're going to be unhappy. And we don't want unhappy customers. So the more honest you are, the better we can do for you. If you have a retirement account, keep it. Don't cash it in. Wait till after the bank. If you need the money out of it, wait till after the bankruptcy. Do not cash in your 401k or any kind of retirement account before you file bankruptcy. Once you get that money, it becomes the word fungible, and the trustee can take that money from you. And then if you've spent that money, the trustee can get it back from who you spent it with. So just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Um, Anyway, preferences. Oh, and the 401k, I got another video on that that goes into it more in depth, so I'm not going to bore you with it here. Number 6 is preferences, big word, but what it means is if you gave more than $1,000 to any one person, maybe within a year before you filed, the trustee may have the ability to go make them pay it back. It's usually the 90 days before you file, but if it's relatives or friends, it's longer. And it's different in different states, I'm sure. I'm only an attorney in Illinois and Iowa, so like if you're in Arizona or something, I have no idea. But there's a rule for it, I know that. And you'll need to find out what the specific rule is if you did that. Talk with your attorney can go over that with you. But basically what a preference is, if you had a chunk of money like more than $1,000 and you stashed it with a relative or friend, or you repaid a loan to a relative or friend and they got paid in full and all your creditors are getting zero, court feels that that's unfair. So that creditor that got the $2,000 payment right before you file, he's got to pay that $2,000 back, and then that way the court will spread that $2,000 evenly amongst all your creditors. They'll use the big word preference, but that's what they're talking about. Number 7, list all your creditors. It's a pain, but you got to sit down and think of everybody you owed money to, because in a Chapter 13, if they're not on there, you didn't file on them. In a Chapter 7, it's different. You file on everybody, even if you don't list somebody. But if you don't list somebody on it, there's certain rules that go into that. So in a 7, you're a little bit better off, but really to avoid problems, to avoid the court being upset, and things like that, you really want to list all your creditors. Plus, it makes for a better bankruptcy, because then all your creditors get an official notice from the court with the court seal on it, letting them know that you filed bankruptcy. And that means a lot to them, because, you know, if you forgot to add somebody and then I'm sending them out a letter, it doesn't seem to them as official as getting it from the court. And it still works, but it's kind of a hassle. Much better if everybody's on there and they get the notice from the court. Well, anyway, that's the top 7 mistakes that people commonly make in bankruptcy. Causes problems, causes me huge headaches. I mean, it'd just be so much easier if I didn't have to deal with these issues. But, you know, that's it. Trying to help people through a tough time. You know, just trying to help you out with your bankruptcy. Representing the state of Illinois and Iowa, and as an attorney for the last 20 years. If you know, hit the like button and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and if you subscribe, then as I do these, you get notice of them. And as always, thanks for watching. Safe travels.